Welcome to the channel, everybody. I'm going to do a little bit of a different format, doing a voiceover with some video. I'm going to be doing reviews of a couple different guns. I got to the range to shoot them. So the first one we're going to look at is the Smith & Wesson Shield Plus. This is a 9mm small carry gun. Not my normal EDC, although I do carry it a good bit, but a lot of times I'm carrying something just smaller. But if I want a little more firepower, I'll grab the Shield here. So I did get it over to the range today to give it a quick run through. Just run a box of ammo through it, just to see how it shoots. I want to see the recoil, see how it handles in the hand, what's the accuracy like. Now I'm not sitting on a bench. I'm not really shooting for super precision here. I'm loading up the mag, and I'm just going to shoot it, offhand at about 7 meters, 7 yards. And, just see how it groups. I'm not going to try putting it on the bench and really dialing it in to see if I can get, 2-inch groups or whatever. I'm trying to shoot it the way you'd normally shoot a gun. I don't believe in, if you want to see what the accuracy is like, I believe you kind of got to use it under, the normal conditions. And normally in the field, if you were to be, defending yourself or something like that, you're not necessarily going to be sitting there. Okay, let me line up the shot. Let me take a breath, exhale part way, hold my breath, resting it on a bench. That's not how you're going to shoot it. You're going to pick up the gun and you're going to shoot the damn thing. And that's why I don't get into all the tactical movements and the robotic movements of holding it in tight to my chest and then thrusting it out. You just don't do that in real life. Nobody does. People do it on the internet to look cool and make it look like they're an operator when, they're not in most cases. So if you can see here, this is just not any plus P. It's just standard 115 grain ball ammo, but not a lot of recoil. For a small, very light gun, it is surprisingly not snappy. I would even say it was comfortable to shoot, and that's always the downside is, if you want a decent caliber like 9mm, and you want to, have a very concealable. So, there's some give and take there. And so here it works really well. The slide release takes a little bit of pressure there to pop it down because it doesn't stick out. It's made for smooth carry. But you can see here like how much it's really not jumping a whole lot. It kind of stays right on target. I didn't bother doing any double taps. There's a lot of people in the range. I went there on my lunch break today. And I figured, hey, normally during the week I go and it's like I'm there by myself. And so I could set up a camera, and if I wanted to do double taps, draw and do a double tap, usually the range master there, kind of allow that. If you clear it with him ahead of time, make sure that he understands what you're doing and you're not just some cowboy goofing around. But, there was actually a lot of people in the range today. I got there and there was only one lane open. I was like, what the hell? It was also hot as hell. It's about 85 degrees in the range. So here in the summertime, it's great in the wintertime. You go in there and it's like 65 degrees. It's frosty. But, nice, good sight picture. The sights work real well. The trigger is, I think, excellent. The groupings are okay. I did have a viewer say, hey, I noticed on mine, these things seem to shoot a little bit to the left. I did experience them. Just shooting offhand like this, I'm not doing rapid fire, but I'm not really taking my time to shoot either. It was just to see how's the gun feel. What's the general lazy shooting accuracy like and all that, and is it reliable? Any jams? Anything that I feel like is kind of weird? And no, it's a good little shooter. I was very, very impressed with it. So only put 5 mags through it. I know it's not super long for a durability test, and at some point I will go back and really see what kind of accuracy I can get. But just shooting like this, boom, boom, boom. I was holding, fist-sized groups, a couple flyers here and there. It did pull just a tiny bit to the left, and so I'll get one of those sight drift tools. And I think if I need to move the sight like a millimeter, and that'll just move that grouping over a little bit. But you can see here, decent grouping on the head, decent grouping on the chest, and then that little guy off to the right. Just shooting offhand like that, again, not going for super precision work. For practical accuracy in a combat situation, more than adequate. I also could have been shooting to the left just because of where my finger was on the trigger. So I'll go back and see if I can pull it a little bit to the right just based on making sure that the trigger is a little more into more towards the knuckle. So anyway, now we're going to switch over to the Rossi, my lever action. Got two lever actions in this video. So we've got the Rossi 92, which is a stainless steel, 20-inch barrel. It is chambered for 357 Magnum and 38 Special, and we're going to start with the 38 Special rounds here. Yes, one sounds louder, but I'm kind of talking over the audio here, and because there's a lot of other people in the background and their guns are going off, I didn't feel like it made sense for me to boost the audio of how this gun sounds with the different calibers, just because you got other people talking and yeah, it'd be kind of distracting. So what I noticed on this gun was loading it could be a little finicky, and that's something I read about the Rossis, and there's a reason why this gun is at the $550 price point. What I paid for it, brand new, and some of the new Rugers and Marlins and stuff are over $1,000, and the Winchesters are up around $1,000, and the Henrys are $800 to $900. This is one of the areas where the Rossi did prove to be very reliable. It was nice to shoot. It was reasonably accurate. Again, just shooting offhand. I wasn't really putting it on a bench and really trying to dial in the accuracy. It was just, how does it shoot? What does it feel like? What's the recoil like? Does it look like to be a good shooter? I'll go back and do some real target shooting and put it out at longer ranges. There's another range near my house that has a 100-yard indoor range. And so I plan to go there and put the target a lot further out. So, I'm loaded up with 38 specials, and we'll go ahead and shoot them. But getting them in there, what I've heard is that you need to take a Dremel or a file, and there's like a burr, there's a lip on the side gate where it just kind of digs into the shells and even into your finger, and so it just makes it a little less smooth getting those shells in there. You can see here shooting 38 specials. The accuracy was fine, but look at how little recoil. It's just like a boom. It's like shooting a 22, because it's not a heavy rifle. It's actually pretty light for an all-steel rifle. But when you're shooting 38 specials out of there, it's negligible. I will say it ejects with authority. I mean, those things, they flip out the top, and they are flying. And of course, somebody would call me in the middle of this. So we're going to pause and be right back. All right, and we are back. That was Mike calling, because I'm going to go pick up a PSA Dagger 9mm in a few minutes. So I'm going to wrap this up and then go grab that. So now I'm switching over to 357 Magnum rounds, because I want to see what the recoil's like. Again, I'm not testing here for accuracy. I just want to see how the gun shoots. I'm going to go buy a bunch of bulk ammo in these calibers, and I'm going to go to the 100-yard range and really play with them and try to get the sights dialed in and do some comparative testing to see, at 100 yards, where does it shoot, and how's, what's the accuracy for 38 special versus 357. Here it was more about how does it feel? Does the gun seem to shoot right? Does it load right? Is it ejecting properly? And, for the most part, the Rossi shot pretty well. I will say that the action is a bit gritty. It's a bit catchy. I think you got to put a bunch of rounds through it to get the metal burrs and some of the little machining marks and things that are inside to kind of rub and smooth out. But this is 357, so you're going to see a little bit more pop here. Yeah, you can see it's definitely recoiling more. A little more muzzle rise. But altogether, with 357, I mean, very pleasant to shoot. If I was going to go hunt, I don't know if I would. I mean, you could hunt deer and hogs with 357 out of a rifle. I would probably use it like for coyote. I think coyotes, being they're only like 45, 50 pounds, 357 coming out of a rifle like that, you're getting like 1,100 foot-pounds of energy, which is more than you need to take down a yote. It felt really good. The semi-buckhorn sights, they're kind of hard to be real accurate with, just because you got the front notched, you got the blade, you got your little brass pin up there, and the semi-buckhorns are just a really wide, like if you think of the back sight as a U, they're really wide. So you get a good field of view. You have the ability to kind of have a quick target acquisition. But also that pin, because it has so much room on either side before it hits the edge of the U, the rear sight, it can move around a lot. So it takes a little bit more concerted effort to hold it steady, actually centered in the middle, as opposed to 2/3 to one side, because it just lets that front sight move around a lot. So you get quicker target acquisition, You know, if you're at the woods and a bear's coming at you, I guess that might be a good thing. But if something's out at 120 yards and you're trying to get more pinpoint accuracy to take that shot, I feel like the semi-buckhorns are going to work against you. And here you can see it takes me a while to load this thing. The rounds, they'll go in. And I don't know if that's going to improve unless I file it down. The reason being, it's soft brass or aluminum case. Even if you had steel case ammo, see there it hung up a little bit. And you have to kind of just jam it. It wasn't jammed like a round was in there sideways. It just has like stiction. And so if you're just trying to do it quickly and lightly, it's almost like short chucking in a way, a shotgun sometimes. There's just a little bit of stiction and you just sort of didn't do it hard enough. That's kind of what's happening there with that gun. It wasn't prone to it. It didn't do it a lot, but it did happen a couple times as I was going through. I just noticed that it shot well. The trigger's nice. It's a nice handling gun, but it just wasn't. It wasn't as smooth out of the box as you'll see coming up in just a few minutes here with the Henry. So here I put in a mix of 38 and 357, and so I want to say I put the 357s in first. I put in I think 3 or 4 of those, and then 38s, and you should be able to see the difference here. Well, no, because I'm actually above the damn camera. I thought I'd be within range of the camera there, so maybe you can look at my arm and just see, okay, when I go to 38 specials, it's much softer. But both of them shot. I had no jams, no failures to eject, nothing like that. I mean, it actually ejects them really strong. They're bouncing off the ceiling. That one ejects out the top, so it flips them up and a bit forward instead of to the side, to the right. And they're just, again, I need to adjust the sights and probably sit down with the bench and do some actual accuracy, you know, kind of dialing it in. But for what I was looking to do, it shot fine. It was a nice shooting gun. It was very enjoyable. So here we're with the Henry Big Boy 44 mag carbine length, 16.5 inch barrel, which does drop the capacity to 7+1. But this one packs a lot more wallop. So right now, I think what I'm loaded up with, wait for my visual cue. Yeah, I've got the 44 Special Gold Dots by Blazer. So those are aluminum case, and they're the defense, even though it's 44 Special, so it's not the high power load. They are the nice 200 grain gold dot hollow points for defense. And you can see here the recoil is just nothing. This gun's a little bit heavier. It's a little beefier than the Rossi. But still being light and fairly, I mean, it's still pretty light. And it's certainly maneuverable with the short barrel. But you can see there is just not a whole lot of thump going on there. I can go ahead and just pump the shots out, stay pretty much right on target. You get that little recoil pulse. You're right back on it. So still loading up some 44 Specials. Now you'll notice here, those rounds are going in much smoother. Henry takes the time. See there, I mean, just kind of boom, and it's in. The other ones, I was having to finagle it and then use the next round to get the first one in, and I need to do something with that Rossi. There's some tutorials on there about how to go in and take a small little file and deburr it and smooth out that edge so it doesn't dig into the casings. But here again, just look at how it stays on target with 44 Specials. That muzzle goes up, I mean, a tiny bit. And at some point I was trying to play with the sights just as it was shooting a little bit high, but I was also only at like 10 yards. So I think at that range it should be a little bit low. I'll need to figure out. I'll be honest, most of my rifles have different, AR-15s and stuff, and any bolt action guns. I've never really had much in the way of rifles with iron sights, so I've never really sighted them in before. And so I was just dicking around a little bit with the ramp, trying to say, okay, do I move it up and down? And I think at some point I just said, you know what, screw it, that's not why I'm here. I'll go to sight them in properly when I can get to the 100-yard range, because doing it here at a pistol range isn't going to do much. But just look at that, just no recoil. Really, really nice. So at this point, I'd only brought like 8 of them with me because these things are over $1 a piece. So I'm going to throw in right now 4 44 mags. These are Georgia Arms Deer Stalkers. So these are 200 grain hollow points at 1,650 feet per second. So that's about 1,200 foot-pounds of energy out of, watch the recoil here, bit more. This kicked pretty good. I mean, not like a but you can see just how much difference there is in that recoil. And you'll see I'm going to do some back-to-back rounds here. Bigger fireball, definitely comes back on your shoulder. Like, you feel it. It's not painful, but I mean, to me, it feels almost like shooting, I don't know, like a 270 Winchester or something, or the 30-30. So here I've got some rounds, and you'll be able to see back to back the recoil. And the sound was actually quite a bit too, but you're not going to get that here. We'll do another video at some point where we'll go to the range and we'll do the 100-yard testing and stuff and let you hear the difference. But I was alternating between 44 mag and 44 special, so you can see one recoil and then the other, and then go back to the first one, and you can see it alternate. So I believe the first shot, I think it was a 44 mag. Yeah, first one should be a 44 Magnum. So let's see what we got. Yeah, 44 mag, now 44 special. Boom. 44 mag, boom. 44 special. Pop. 44 mag, boom. 44 special. Pop. And another 44 mag. Much more fire at the end and much more recoil. And when I say much more, I mean it's not painful by any means, but it's probably triple at least. And that's the thing, you know, 44 mag out of that gun, that would be the deer or hog gun. Honestly, here in Georgia, unless you're way down in South Georgia, again, ignore the groups because I was dicking around with the height of the rear sight, just playing with the elevation a little bit, which is why it was stringing up and down. But yeah, there's a definite difference between the power, and I would use a 44 mag absolutely for hunting and things like that. So anyway, that is my range review. Both guns shot flawlessly. All three. There was no failures to feed, failures to eject. The only thing I can say, everything was positive on the pistol. Everything was positive on the 44 mag. The Rossi needs a little bit of work. It needs to have some rounds put through it to smooth it out. And then we need to do some maybe just a little bit of filing on the Sidegate so that it can smooth out the loading process and not chew up your finger as much when you stick your finger down in there. So anyway, hope you enjoyed. Hit like, subscribe, and we'll talk to everybody later.